He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Attention, citizens of fair Gotham. Welcome one last time to Bat Minute of the Phantasm, the show that analysed and investigated the masterpiece, Mask of the Phantasm, 1 minute at a time. I'm very sad, as you can tell. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
And I am here, made under the jurisdiction of, what's that saying? Affiliated with AFL-CLO. It's me, Niall McGowan.
I like the way you clearly like, well, I've got to think of something quick. Squint.
I was like, what does that say? Talk to the audience. Oh, God, this is always dead.
Oh, but yes, we are back, people. It's minute 77.
Technically, yeah, that was the one. There's a thing I did for this minute, and I was sort of torn on whether to count it as minute 77 or minute 76.
And a half.
Yeah, because it's not even 30 seconds. It's 28 seconds. This quote unquote minute.
So technically, it's not minute 77, but it depends how you're judging it. And also,
episode
if you
77.
watch it, episode 77, and if you watch it on like DVD or Blu-ray or something, there might be a longer bit of like a black screen.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm going to forgive it. I'm going to personally, I think, if I was watching this at home, like not on something we've ripped, then, I think there would be that little bit extra. Because sometimes there's a black screen for way too long. Yeah. It's absurd. Yeah. So I reckon it would take it to the minute mark. Because the one we've got, we just go, right, no, stop it there.
That's always remember, like, back in the days of VHS, like, sometimes been like, I'll just wait until after to see what happens.
Yeah.
Because, sometimes you get trailers will pop out the other side, all that stuff.
Oh, remember when DVDs were new and, it's like, DVDs, they've got extras. So VHS on their dying legs decided, well, we're going to put extras on as well. But the only way of doing that was just to bung them on at the end.
Yeah. I remember always distinctly that, because I was reminded of it quite recently, because I was on for Fight Club Minute. And I remember at the VHS of Fight Club, they stuck on, the Fight Club had a spin-off single called This Is Your Life by, what do you call them, the Dust Brothers?
Oh, I remember them because as a teenager, I was really into nu metal. And even though they're not metal or anything, for some reason, they were like in those circles. They'd always do songs with like nu metal bands and do like remixes. It's like, what's the connection here? It's weird. And they'd perform at Korn at their festival, Family Values, it was called. It was like a tour. Dust Brothers would be on it. And you're like, okay. I mean, that's great. It's opening people's musical sort of tastes, but it's also weird.
Yeah, but they just know people who know people. Maybe that might be the scenario. But I just always thought it was weird, though, because like the song, this is Your Life, not the BBC Michael Apple hosted show.
You know what? I think that show could do well in this day and age. America, bring it back. Make an American version of This Is Your Life. Basically, it just looked at celebs and like how they grew up, and they're on, and they get all their like family on and stuff.
I don't think America had This Is Your Life. I'm pretty sure they did. I've seen spoofs on on TV shows and stuff where they'll have because they always do the thing of talking about, you remember your old football coach, and then you hear a guy going McManus, give me 40, and like, we got him right here. That was basically the principle.
You're right. I found it. There is an American one. It looks like it maybe wasn't as popular, but it had multiple runs, so they obviously kept trying. One of the show's subjects was the survivor from Hiroshima.
Whoa.
Oh my God. And they bring out one of the co-pilots of the Enola Gay.
What? You can't do that. Jesus Christ.
Whoa. Holy.
I gotta watch this on YouTube now.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Oh my. I respect them maybe trying to kind of make a statement about peace, but I don't know if that's the way to do it.
That'll be like something that they're really diligent researchers, and they brought on like one of the survivors of like the Zodiac killings, and they're like, "Do you recognize this voice?" Like, drop and give, and then it's just like, "We've got him right here, the Zodiac killer. It was this guy."
Jesus Christ! It says one of the other notable guests was a Holocaust survivor. Thank God it doesn't then say they brought out a camp guard. It doesn't say... Maybe they did. It doesn't say that on Wikipedia, though.
We've got him. He's in the audience. It's Joseph Goebbels.
Jesus. It wouldn't surprise me after the bloody bombing one.
Listen, so maybe this is probably why it didn't like America. We're just like, yeah, this is what you do, right? And it's like, no, you bring out like the guy who was in EastEnders, and you just go, this is like you're the guy who used to live next door to you when you were kids. You know,
oh my God. What have we got? Oh, wait. There's so many good... We're doing a show on this, right? It says, in a 1973 episode, Vincent Price was the surprised guest. Oh. The show had been planned with his wife, Mary, while Price was in the UK filming Theatre of Blood. By the time he returned to the US, to shoot this, he had split from his wife and begun a relationship with his co-star from the film.
Did she find all this out on the show? Like, you should know that your husband has.
No, luckily, no. It says Price's daughter revealed that his estranged wife had told him about the show in an attempt to manage any potential fallout. And unbeknownst to the producers, he agreed to pretend and act surprised on the show. They're all faking. Acting.
Again, that's the thing. It's like, no one can. I have done Vincent Price impressions in the past, but he's a guy I can't conjure instantly.
No, because
like,
everyone does like a kind of stereotypical cheesy thing, and he doesn't always sound like that.
I was about to go into like a James Mason-esque sort of thing there again, but like it's not like like with Mark Hamill's Joker. I can sort of bring that about, but like no, Vincent. I've done Vincent Price on the show for an outro way back when.
You had time to practice.
But it was, I think I remember it being like I had to sit and like really sort of really try to get into the part and stuff. But like,
well, it's like
it's not a Jerry Seinfeld where you just go into it.
Well, it's like who was it? We talked about this once before. We had an episode all about impersonations, and we looked up an impersonator who could do voices and things. Who was it? We talked about one being especially difficult to pull off, and everyone gets it wrong. Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah, Walken is the yeah.
Vincent Price is a bit like that. Like I think most people don't. They don't go for what he actually sounds like. They go for the parody of what he sounds like.
Yeah. And then the thing people always bring up about Walken is like, because everybody just sort of does all this business,
always like this,
and all this stuff, but they forget that a big part of Walken is this gravelly thing that he goes into.
Yeah, and the fun is in the way he switches between the two. I was going to say a moment's notice, at no notice.
Yeah, I was saying, and guarantee you, every take he's ever done on a film, he's probably switched up. Like, and the director doesn't know from take to take. Is like, which is he gonna do with the gravel now, or is he gonna do what way is this gonna go? But
oh my god, though, this show, like America, you might have beaten us at This Is Your Life. I don't remember us having much controversy like that.
I remember this being quite a dull show, to be honest with you. I just remember the theme tune. But
my uncle was on it.
So who?
My uncle.
Your uncle was on This Is Your Life. Did you come out? Were you one of the voices?
No, they did ask us to go on, but we were living in Cyprus, and they wouldn't pay for the flights. So we're like, no, we're not going on that.
I just imagine, though, like your uncle sitting there. It's like, do you recognize this voice? And just you going like, greetings, citizens of Paragon. And then been like, no, I have no idea who that is.
Well, I know you can't watch it now, but in the chat, I have sent you part 1 of the episode about my uncle.
Oh, wow. Should we do this minute by minute?
We'll do it minute by minute. This Is Your Life. I can send you a picture of him from the show. I'll get you this.
This thing, the thumbnail of the thing, Dean Bell, is that it?
That's him, yeah. Like, in fact, I'll send you this page. It's Dean Bell on there. He's like just after halfway down. Just because if I sent you the picture, it doesn't have all the other stuff.
Yeah. Oh, the big red book. There it is.
There it is.
That's your red book. Cut right there. Oh, the website's so old.
It's ancient, isn't it?
It's not been updated since like 1996.
And my uncle is wearing a very 90s suit and tie.
So making my way through all the 70s mutton chops here. Oh, geez. Oh, there he is. Yeah.
That's him.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
He was the captain of Wigan. They were.
But this is the caliber, though. It's all like rugby players and
which is impressive in a way. But it's like I don't know. In this day and age, it'd have to be like goddamn.
It'd have to be like David Tennant or something.
Like Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. But this is like Clive Sullivan, the Welsh Rugby League winger.
Well, it's difficult, isn't it? Because I imagine to rugby people, I'm not a rugby person, listeners, but to rugby people, my uncle was very famous. He was the best captain that the best team in England had, basically.
Yeah.
Rugby league, there's two different types of rugby. So to rugby people, he's huge. But I'm just like, it's just my uncle, he made me like nice chips. I don't know.
Like from scratch or like
he could make things.
Maybe like you think that they were from scratch, but it's like, no, it's Aunt Bessie's.
No. He went
John
all
never
out.
figured it out.
He was very good. He introduced me to beer batter on like fish and things like that. I'd never heard of it, and he made it for me. There you go. And despite appearances, he's a Maori.
Oh, really? Oh, no, he does not look. He does not look it. I'll give him that.
No, he's very, very white Maori, but he's a Maori.
But anyway, This Is Your Life was a spin-off single for the hit film Fight Club. And I just remember I just always thought it was weird, and then thought it again was weird that like, because the whole point of a spin-off single is just to be like, let's cash in on this thing even more. And Fight Club's whole message is supposed to be anti-consumerist and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But then maybe you can twist that around again to being like, maybe that's a part of the ironic commentary of the film. Of course that's a spin-off.
I was going to say, I actually think that's quite amusing. Whether or not that was the intention, I don't know. But making a big hit single out of it kind of... It kind of proves the point of what they're saying, you know?
Like the whole thing is, it's like, it's Brad Pitt performing it. But he's basically just reciting a lot of the mantras that Tyler Durden comes out with. So it's just like, you are not a beautiful and unique snowflake. You are the same decaying organic matter as everything else.
Oh, is it like a dancey kind of a... Cause I'm imagining it...
It's like it's in the film as well at some point. So
almost to be like, do you remember... you've seen Party Monster, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, classic.
You know, the song in that, where it's like money, success, fame, glamour, and they're just like shouting slogans after that, you know, like... Yeah. I imagine it's like that, because that's kind of dancey, and it's just saying important things. It's not really lyrics.
Yeah. I suppose, the whole purpose of Fight Club being that, like, Tyler Durden's philosophy is freeing you from your consumerist, zombie state. And he's going to free you, and you're going to be a complete individual. You're going to go out and be like, now I'm living life to its fullest. And then he just uses all the same kind of stuff of just spouting slogans at you, and just has you zombified into like, now you're part of Project Mayhem.
To a repetitive beat.
And you're going to be you're all dressed in the same, you're all looking the same, you're all going to do what I say because this is for your personal freedom and all this kind of stuff.
But again, I think that might be part of it. It's like, what he's preaching is maybe... I don't want to say fake, because he's not doing it. I don't know. He believes it.
Yeah.
But it is kind of... it is idiocy. It's one of those things where the idea is good and the execution isn't. I don't mean the movie. I mean the characters. Everyone famously knows I don't really like the movie that much. But again, I haven't seen it.
I'll be curious to hear what your opinion is now after all this time.
Well, that's the thing. I think I'm now a much more aware person about like themes and things like that, and I'm more clued up like on lots of stuff politically and like the world. And I may now appreciate it a lot more than I did when when did it come out? When I was like 14. But then again, it's known as an edgelord 14-year-old movie. So
I think that's the thing. Because I know we had a guest on way back who I remember said Fight Club is a movie that stupid people think is smart. And I know that's entirely based around a kind of Rick and Morty-esque like, oh no, because of the fans, I hate this movie. So and then I was very like, but it's not though. And I didn't want to get into it with him, but I was just like, you can say that, but like you're wrong. And I know that you're only saying it because of all the because then he went on to say like, all those what would Tyler Durden do websites and stuff.
Well,
and
that's the thing though, that does colour your view of it, you know?
Yeah, I think half the point of the movie as well is like you can't control. He's created a thing, and now he's lost control of it.
Yeah,
and so then that's where David Fincher put this out into the world, and now what are you gonna do? All the edgelords have it now, and they don't realize what half of it is about. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So.
they'll have a Fight Club poster, a Scarface poster. What's another one? I mean, they love the Joker now.
Yeah. They have a black and white picture of Joaquin Phoenix smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, I actually think the Joaquin Phoenix one with these people has overtaken Heath Ledger.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. The yeah, there's a whole big that's really metamorphized into a big old hideous monster, the Joaquin Phoenix, because that's the one that's very overtly trying to be like. He is 100% your sympathetic character in the movie. Whereas if you watch The Dark Knight, you're kind of like, oh, this guy has a philosophy. I'm intrigued by his lessons. But at the end of the movie, he's still wrong. He's always portrayed to be a vindictive piece of crap. And at the end of the movie, it's like, well, he's got this nihilism about the world. And it turns out the thing he thought was going to happen is like, these people are going to blow each other up. Didn't happen because there is hope for humanity and stuff like that. So
that's why I'm kind of excited for the new Joker, because I love the way that they've gone, we don't care what you arsehole so-called fans think. We're making a musical with Lady Gaga.
Well, I'll see how much of a musical it is.
I don't think it's going to be like I think it'll be the occasional tune, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just very sort of like, I don't know how much of that was like to try to grab headlines and how much of it's genuinely going to be that, but we'll see. We'll cover it when it comes out. But
even just putting her in it annoys people. It's great. It's like, all these idiots who, oh no, I don't want to see this. This sounds awful. Good, don't see it then. Leave it to people like me.
Yeah, but anyway, minute 76.1 or 0.5, 77. I went and did one thing. Out of just genuine curiosity on my part, because this is so much of a shorter season than previous films.
It feels like we're only just starting.
Basically, yeah. And I was even like making notes, like, oh my god, there's so much stuff we could still talk about, basically. But I got curious and I went and looked up, and then this is where I got tripped up. I went to look up minute 76 in previous films to see like, well, what point were they at where this has ended. Where were they in 89 and Returns and all that, et cetera, et cetera. And then I was like, should it be 76 or 77 though? Because it's technically episode 77 of the series. So I went for 77 just because. And so I'm assuming you probably wouldn't want to guess where each film was at minute 77, John.
Oh, Jesus. Minute 77 of 89.
Work backwards from the most recent. So Batman and Robin. Where would you think? Like, if you had to guesstimate, where would you think 77 was?
This is a tough one, right? This is a tough one because I'm trying to sort of think chronologically the plot. I'm going to say 77. I'm going to go maybe just before we get the Poison Ivy sexy dressed as a gorilla?
No, it's way after that. Way after that. It is minute 77 of Batman and Robin is Ivy spraying her pheromones on Batman and Robin when they're in Mr. Freeze's hideout. So once he's gone back to collect his armor.
I remember recording that like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it seems so recent, but so the scene of them they're looking at Nora Freeze, and then the little pink smoke appears and goes around them. Our guest for that episode was Anna F. Papard. And the so then Forever, and it's actually quite an iconic minute of Forever. This one, but see if you take a whack at that. Although now the further back we get, I think the tougher it's going to be.
It's tough. I'm trying to sort of think, chronologically again. I'm going to say it's where he figures out that Nigma is the Riddler?
No, that's way later on.
Oh, for God's sake.
No, because that's quite near. Forever is over 2 hours. Remember, like it's.
I know.
That's quite
I'm
near
trying
the
to
end.
kind of go through it in my mind and like scrub through the film. Okay, let me have a second guess. I'll have a second guess. Is it where we're introduced to the box kind of thing? And
no, that's too early now. It's like the midpoint of the movie. It is an iconic sequence. It's Batman coming through the skylight at the Nigma Tech party. And the guy going, Batman! And like the, patience so bifurcated one. And, Two-Face coming in, busting everything up. So that was minute 77 of Forever. Our guest for that episode was one Scott Corelli.
Hang on, though. That's not my second guess wasn't that early then, because that's the same bit, isn't it? Where you get the box and it's the party.
I thought you're talking about like I guess that's the launch of the box. You haven't introduced to it way before.
Oh, I'm talking about the launch of the. So I was kind of right.
Oh, but the launch of the box, then by all means, yeah.
And I'm not just saying that now, people. In retrospect, that's what I meant. Like, but but even so, it was my second guess, so it doesn't really count.
Yeah. But do you care for returns? Returns. I mean, it could be a tough one. Returns. I wouldn't have guessed this myself, but
I'm gonna try. Right, even though it's my favorite one, I don't think I'm gonna get it. But let me think.
Just try to think too that like this is effectively this would have been like that around the halfway point in every other season, because like they used to go on for like 120 minutes, so 76 minutes. It's we're just a little bit over, but
I'm gonna guess it's the Ice Princess stuff.
Very close. Very, very close. It's the Red Triangle gang breaking into the Batmobile.
Oh, that's like the next scene, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just pretty all around the same. The instead of them coming out and pressing the little button, to take off the shields. Someone did also, because I think when I was with Rob and Austin, and I was saying like, one of them brought up like my poo-pooing of the BTAS Batmobile and saying like, oh, it doesn't really look anything like anything. It's just, and one of them, I can't remember which one, was saying like, but it looks like it's based on the 89 Batmobile with the shields up. And I was like, is it? Does it really look like that? Yeah. Is that what I put that to the audience. You think it's like, I didn't get that, but okay.
I can see it. I wouldn't have thought of it, but I can see it.
And then 89, where would you go? This was looking. Oh, of course, yeah. And that was frequent guest Claire York was on for that episode.
Okay,
and 89. This was a big moment for us. Actually, 89, where minute 77 landed.
You can tell that I've seen Returns the most, because that was not a bad guess. But let's see.
No, pretty much. I would have given it to you if it had been a game show, because it's the same scene.
I don't think you should. I'm going to be honest. I don't think you should give me that one. It wasn't close enough.
Just shoot yourself in the foot.
I'm honest. I'll call myself out. I'm going to guess on this one, Dance with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight.
Oh, you're very close. Again, it's essentially the same scene. It's in Vicky's apartment. It's just a bit before that. It's literally like it would have been like the week before.
God damn it! That's not a bad guess too. Again, this is 89 is the other one I've seen the most.
yeah. But it was my most hated minute actually. It was Bruce Wayne pushing Vicky down and going like, "You're a very nice girl and I like you a lot, but shut up and listen."
Oh, I remember your hatred of that all these years later.
Yeah, and even then we saw it on the big screen recently too. It was just like watching that scene, like, yeah, the movie just stops dead now for a bit. Like, this is terrible. Everything else, as soon as that bit's done, it perks up again. But yeah, that was a momentous episode for us because it was our second ever episode talking to one Stephanie Palacino.
Hey,
which is one of our just mainstays of Batman now. And it was insane to me scrolling back through those episodes because. Like Stephanie's thing now, she comes on, it's like, this could take forever.
Yeah.
We get to talking to her. There's going to be so much to edit, et cetera, et cetera.
And that's, listeners, that's not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way. It's just that we talk to Stephanie all the time now. Yeah. It's just like, yeah, we just get chatty when she's on. Those episodes where she's on, the first season, are like 30 minutes. Like, well, how did we condense that down? Like, what happened there?
Well, we didn't know each other. Yeah.
Stephanie might be seeing Stephanie in real life for the first time next month.
Hey.
She's coming over to Brighton, so I'm going to try to get the train down to see her, because apparently she does own an Airbnb there. That's how she makes her money.
You're going to stay in her Airbnb?
she just says, I'll be staying there. The house is open, so come on down. And
Hey.
like, all right. So that might be me. There might be a bunch of other people there as well. I don't know. I'll probably just pop down for like a night or something. But
I could
yeah,
recommend
lovely.
a venue to go to if there's bands on. So
Oh, okay. Well, you should come down as well, John. You know, so she's not. You know, she's saying it's free to all. So by all means, come. But yeah. So that was. It's just weird to be like that's the other minute 77. It's like we're nowhere near done in those movies.
yeah, that's nuts, isn't it? Holy crap! That's the difference with. I was going to say with doing an animated movie, but these days animated movies are allowed to run long.
I mean, I freaking like I loved Across the Spider-Verse, but like I've seen it twice. Saw it twice in theaters.
Yeah.
And there's an entire big chunk at the end where it's like, I know, particularly, it was even worse the second time because you know it's building to like it ends on a cliffhanger. But it feels like the climax of the movie happens and then there's about another 25 minutes where you're like, and they're just building up to a reveal. And you're kind of sitting there, and particularly after all the animators came out, and we were talking about like how torturous it was, like the working conditions and like how much was demanded of them. And every frame still looks beautiful and immaculate. And you're like looking at it going, yeah, you could have cut a lot of this. Like, you were probably putting a lot of people under pressure to get these scenes at the very end done. And this movie's too long. Like, you
could have cut 20 minutes.
You could easily have condensed this last bit down to, like, 5 minutes. And yet, I'm still sitting here going, like, I know what's coming. Just get the... And even when you know what's coming, it's like, well, that's not the end, because the end's the part 3, which is coming friggin' 3 years' time or whatever. But, yeah, because there's so little going on in these 28 seconds. Another thing I did is because I think maybe as I looked at the list, I was very like, oh, this is just, it's more of a baffling thing to me and probably to you as well because of like where we are. But the concept of this coming out on a Christmas day was like, that's weird to me. Why would you release a film on Christmas? No one's going to cinema on Christmas Day.
Not only that, though, like, because obviously you wouldn't do it now, but even less so back then. Because if you remember, back then, Christmas, dare I say this word, it was like a sacred day.
Again, though, over in Ireland too, like Christmas Day is like, no, ever worship, because you've only really got 2 religions in Ireland, and they're basically the same religion.
Yeah.
And so they kind of, but in America, of course, then they're like, well, you got like the Jewish community, you've got countless other faiths going on, so they don't celebrate Christmas, so therefore the cinemas are open for them, or probably just bigger populations that they're even considering like. Well, people don't have families. They need somewhere to go on Christmas. They don't want to be by themselves, so they keep the theaters open. And I was stunned to find out that like not only are films released on Christmas Day like all the time, there's like big movies released on Christmas Day that I never would have been like. You'd just be like, that's insane to do that. Why would you? Who's going to go to see that? And I guess I know there are certain things in. You see now observing other people's, from movies or just from knowing other, people outside of my Irish circle and stuff. Like, I know now that like it's a big Jewish tradition on Christmas Eve to get Chinese food and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, I learned that from like TV. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe even Christmas Day. Like, you go out to Chinese restaurants on Christmas Day because that's just like, we're not celebrating, but we're going to make a day of it anyway just because we'll go and treat ourselves to a Chinese meal.
You know what?
Stuff.
I respect that, but I'm not a Christian, so maybe Christians have a different view on this. I think
you can't argue with a succulent Chinese meal.
Get your hands off my penis.
It's democracy manifest.
God, what was it? Oh yeah.
I'm going to keep that into and like really wondering how many people will get what the reference was.
If you don't know what that is, please just look up succulent Chinese meal.
Yeah, it will. Just literally those words will get it on Google.
It will. You don't have to type "get your hands off my penis." That might bring up something else. But what I was going to say is I actually like it because you get some people who are like they feel like they can't celebrate or anything. They're like, "Well, I'm not a Christian." They might be a Muslim or something. And the way I see it, it's now so divorced from its original meaning, which again, this might annoy Christians, and that's fine, I understand. But it's so divorced from the original meaning. I think you can still enjoy yourself. Just see it as like a nice day to relax with your family, eat some good food. It doesn't have to be a Christian Christmas dinner. Just eat whatever you want. Just have a nice day, family, good food, hang out. Like a party time.
Yeah. Again, though, the other thing is that, like, some people don't have family. Some people don't have that many friends. Some people's friends go to spend time with their family, and then these people are left alone. And they're like, what do I do?
That's what happens to me.
Yeah, so it happens to some people. You just end up having to... People then are like, there's a big new movie to go see out in the theaters. Go out and treat yourself. And some people might actually like to go out with their families. Such as Mark Hamill with his... Or Mark Hamill is the loner there waiting for people to come in with their families going, come up and sit next to me. But
You're my family now.
That's Freddy. He played Chucky, was the thing with Mark Hamill.
I was trying to be like Papa Lazarou, where it's like, you're my wife now.
That was so weird, too, again, from rewatching The Exorcist 3, having now watched like the entirety of that Chucky TV show and haven't seen, like, it's been years since I've seen Exorcist 3. And I don't know if you're aware, but like it's such a good movie. But there's a whole thing where, like, yeah, they go in, but Joyce C. Scott goes in to visit this mysterious patient who's like in a straitjacket, kept in isolation. Okay. And it's supposed to be the possessed body of Father Karras from the first movie. And so you see that actor is there, but then he's supposed to be possessed by the Gemini killer, who's Brad Dourif. And so throughout the scene, he changes into Brad Dourif. But they keep modulating his voice because the original title was Legion, and then they changed it to Exorcist 3 Legion. And he's supposed to be many demons within this body. And so they modulate his voice to sound different all the time. But there's just bits then where he gets up and starts raving, and he's all like, he is trapped inside with us. He will never get away. And it's just like, oh, that's the Chucky voice. He's just Chucky. It's just Brad. It was weird to see the Chucky voice coming out of Brad Dourif, because like, oh, I'm used to hearing it. But like,
but not seeing it like come out of that face.
Yeah, so actually, I've seen Brad Dourif talking normally many times. I've never seen him doing the Chucky voice in a big like homicidal rant. It was like, oh no, there it is, he's doing it. But no, so I looked into a list of movies that were also released on Christmas Day. Some surprise ones there. One, actually notably, for Christmas Day of 1993, was Tombstone, which also, of course, featured Dana Delaney. So you had your choice as Dana's for 1993, I guess. You want to go... So you have a Dana Delaney double bill, if you wanted.
Dana-thon.
Maybe that's what happened. All the people were like, oh, we're going out to see that new Dana Delaney movie. And everyone thought, oh, I bought tickets for Tombstone, right? It's like, no, Mask of the Phantasm. That's why it didn't make any money.
That's why it bombed, the confusion. All the fans picked the wrong one.
Nobody cared about Tombstone until people just kept buying tickets to it by mistake.
I'll be honest, right? I'd never heard of it till that podcast about it came out.
Oh, Tombstone was a big deal when I was growing up. I remember the kid next door was obsessed with the Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday. Thought he was like the coolest character alive.
I think though my problem is, I don't know, maybe it was over here, but I seem to grow up in an era where cowboys ain't cool.
Oh no, my dad's so obsessed with westerns.
No, but that is the problem. So's mine. So it wasn't cool because your dad likes it.
Yeah.
It's like that's what your dad watches on a Sunday when he's on his own.
I don't think it was just more the fact that too. It was just like, oh, the house is bombarded with it then because it's like there's a new cowboy movie out. Like it's literally, he will drop everything if like I was on the phone to him the other night and I was like, oh no, it's up on the front page of Amazon Prime. There's some Western that came out with like Kiefer Sutherland and Donald Sutherland. I'm in. And my dad literally just dropped. He said, "What?" He just went over. And he just started watching it while I was on the phone. He's like, "Oh, no, this is great." Man's so desperately starved for a Western that he was like,
"Oh, if there's ever a Western reference in one of these, get him on the show."
But yeah. So Tombstone, To Kill a Mockingbird with Gregory Peck. And Robert Duvall, I guess.
I'll be honest, my only experience of that was I had to read it and watch it at school.
I think that'd be many people's, if not their only experience with it, but at least their primary experience with it would be like, it's a thing you kind of have to. Yeah. It went from a book that was banned to like standard reading. Like you have to read this thing. So
yeah, we had to. And you know, for schoolwork, I didn't mind it, which is a shock because at the time, like, I was a terrible student. I never studied. I was always in trouble. I had detention like every day. But that, at least the movie portion, the book wasn't so keen on, obviously. But the movie portion, I quite enjoyed watching that. Same when we had to watch, what do you call it? Of Mice and Men.
Oh, yeah.
I quite like that. I didn't read the book. I pretended to. I just watched the movie twice. Yeah.
Watched the movie twice.
Well, I watched it in
That's
class
like
and
reading
then.
a book.
Well, yeah, I watched it in class, and then so I could pass the test on the book, I went home and watched it again.
But I think that's like list the changes between book and movie. Like, oh boy.
Yeah, I don't think I did very well. I think they knew.
But
I'm not going to read a book. I'm a teenager.
Oh, speaking of something like that, one popped up to me that I was like, oh yeah, 1994's The Jungle Book, which was
on Christmas Day.
Yeah, I remember though there was a live-action Jungle Book made in the mid-90s that was like, it had the guy, it was like adult Mowgli, and none of the animals talked, so that's why like I was out when I was a kid.
Oh my
like,
God! Wait, this is bringing back memories. I can see his face. Oh,
yeah, the poster was everywhere. Like it was they really, and I didn't realize it was the first Disney. I thought it was like, oh no, someone else has just adapted, the Rudyard Kipling story. It must be in like public domain or something. And it's, no, apparently this is officially the first live-action Disney remake. So we blamed Tim Burton for it, for Alice in Wonderland. But of course they did it with 101 Dalmatians back in the 90s as well. So they were already doing this crap. But
101 Dalmatians got away with it because it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I think that had and it was technically innovative as well. Where they're like, no, look at what we can do now. We can make these dogs and stuff.
Yeah. Whereas now being able to CGI some dogs isn't quite as impressive.
Yeah. But no, remember I've never seen it, but I'd forgotten about it because I was like, oh, that's like the boring Jungle Book. That's not the proper like bare necessities Jungle Book. And then seeing like the cast of it, and it was directed by Stephen Sommers, the guy who made The Mummy. And I was like, what? The Mummy guy made that? Oh, holy crap. And of course, the only reason I did distinctly remember it because it came out in 94, the year after Jurassic Park, and it starred Sam Neill. And so I was like, Alan Grant's in a new movie. This is gonna be. Oh wait, no, it's a boring Jungle Book where the animals don't even talk. Come on, get out of here.
Was that his next project?
It must have been one of, if he probably had. I imagine Sam Neill probably has like 3 things on the go at any given minute. But yeah, I guess it was. Well, actually, so it was summer of '93, Christmas Day of '94. He probably did something in between, I imagine. But
right, we're gonna have to look it up. Oh yeah, look, just googling his name reminded me. I still haven't seen that new Jurassic World.
I've attempted to watch it 5 times. 5 times, I can't make it through. It's just like it's just. What is this? What are we doing?
Well, let's put it this way. I watched what's the previous one, the second one. I only remember one thing from the entire movie.
Is it just the Brachiosaurus?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, in the smoke. Yeah,
I don't remember a single other thing.
It's got Daniela Pineda in it, who's really hot. I remember, like, I liked her from other things, and I was like, oh, she's in it. And she's playing kind of like a cool nerd in it. Where she was like the sassy one with the glasses. I was like,
okay, yeah.
But that was the only thing. that her and that Brachiosaurus are the only memorable parts of the movie.
All right, here we go. I found it as well. So Jurassic Park, he did have 2 things in between. Same year as Jurassic Park, Sirens.
Yeah, don't know
which
that.
sounds like an erotic thriller. Let's have a look. Based on the life of
the poster's just Sam Neill standing with his dick in his hand. It's like, oh no, it is. Yep, let's just get out of here.
Oh, right. So it says based on the life of artist Norman Lindsay.
Oh, it sounds so much more boring now. You call it that. Can you imagine how heartbreaking this is for a child who's like just seen Jurassic Park, the most exciting thing in the universe, and you find out the guy in it grew up in Oma up the road from you. And then the next thing he does is like, oh, it's a biopic of the artist Norman. You're like, oh, God.
Yes. And it's starring Hugh Grant. And let's see. There was a trio of movies came out in a row that established Hugh Grant as a force in America. Sirens, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Bitter Moon. Apparently, those 3 were all massive.
I mean, I know one of them definitely would stand out amongst the rest.
Well, but apparently at the time, this was a big deal. So you got Hugh Grant, Tara Fitzgerald, Sam Neill, Elle Macpherson, Portia de Rossi, Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus. Okay. And then the other
Vertical
movie
Limits, Ben Mendelsohn.
Oh, of course, that's what everyone knows him from. And then the next thing is Country Life.
Oh my God.
Not the butter brand. But
I think it's just sounding now. It's like, you get the kid in me. He's like, oh, what are they doing now? It's like country. It's like, oh, it sounds like some boring crap on like BBC on a Sunday afternoon. Like,
well, Country Life is a 1994 Australian drama film adapted from the 1899 play Uncle Vanya by Anton Chekhov.
I think I just fell into a coma as you were describing it there, Joe. It's as if he was trying to like just like, oh, I was in something too exciting. I need to boring up my career. And then they're like, we want to be in a new Jungle Book, Sam. He's like, as long as the animals don't talk and it doesn't look like it's any fun.
Make it boring and I'll be in it. Yeah, because then he did Jungle Book and The Mouth of Madness.
Oh, well, there you go. That's a return to form, at least, The Mouth of Madness.
He decided to mix it up. He alternates. Exciting, boring. Exciting, boring.
But also in that Jungle Book, John Cleese, of course, one-time legendary Python John Cleese, now a guy you just wish would stop talking.
Well, that's the thing. You know what? He's an old man. I'm not endorsing what he says because it's all nonsense and wrong and stupid. But he's an old man. Let's just ignore him. Let's just remember the good times with him. But
Lena Headey is in that movie.
Wow.
And she's one of the main, she's like the third person listed in the cast. I was like, oh, I wouldn't have thought she would. I knew she was in like Band of Gold. Like, this is all people now really know Lena Headey. I was like, oh yeah, Cersei from Game of Thrones. But
to me, she's always going to be the fake Sarah Connor from the TV show of Terminator.
Well, yeah, she did have like a kind of, her career was building for so long. Because she did that Brothers Grimm movie with Heath Ledger and
Dredd.
Matt Damon. Dredd was like, but yeah, I remember way back in the early 90s, her and Samantha Morton were in Band of Gold, which is like a very controversial ITV like drama. It was controversial because they were prostitutes in it. And it was like the life of a prostitute. It portrayed prostitutes in a very sympathetic light, which for early 90s primetime UK television was like a scandalous, basically.
Shocking.
It should be considered to be scum. You don't want them. You don't want to romanticize being a prostitute, even though you watch the show. It's the most hard-hitting, bitter drama ever that makes the life of a prostitute look horrible. but
you're meant to empathize with those women. You're not supposed to do that. They're bad.
Yeah, but that's where Lena Headey and Samantha Morton come from. It was the Band of Gold girls. But,
crazy.
But yeah, I'll try to speed through the rest of this because otherwise we'll be here all night. But I'll pick out a certain few. Both The Hateful Eight and Django Unchained released on Christmas Day, which I was as Tarantino a Christmas guy. Or was like, this is my gift to the world.
Right, that wasn't the case here, was it?
No, I remember The Hateful Eight been out around like winter.
It was the winter time, but I'm sure it was after Christmas, right? Because I went to see it with my then partner. There's no way I would have got her out of the house on like Christmas Day or something.
Yeah. No. I just don't think they release things on Christmas Day over here as well.
No.
I don't think even in Liverpool they would maybe release it Boxing Day, but they would never. I don't think they would have the Odeon. The big cinema chains would even be shut on a Christmas Day. But
here you go. I've got it. In the UK, 8th of January. That makes sense to me.
Yeah. No, that sounds a lot more. That's a reasonable. That's like the UK stepping in to go like, no, we're having our holidays. And release it afterwards, and then give us something to look forward to in the new year. Well,
because basically from like just before Christmas to into the new year, like nothing's supposed to happen then. No, in between, the festive gooch, nothing happens.
Yeah, the Crimbo Limbo. Remember the very annoying advert used to call it.
No, you're supposed to just even though you might have to go back to work or whatever, it depends. Nobody does anything. You're not expected to do anything.
But Les Mis also released like the what do you call him, Tom Hooper, the guy who oh you ain't you won't see him no more. Cats Tom Hooper. I remember Cats was out around Christmas time though, because I remember I went to see it with you. Like maybe the day before I went back for Christmas holidays. I think it was around about that time.
It was definitely around Christmas time because
Galaxy Quest, also a Christmas Day release. The Wolf of Wall Street.
This is getting crazier. None of them are even like festive.
Wolf of Wall Street and Wolf Creek. It's a wolf holiday at Christmas time, I guess.
I think this is some sort of weird cult.
Of course, big one. I do remember it being released because it was such a big. Well, we were obviously doing the show at the time, and it was such a big thing because it was all delayed because of the pandemic, et cetera, et cetera. They did I think they released it in cinemas and also online. or maybe it was just online. Wonder Woman 84 was released on Christmas Day.
On Christmas Day?
I think it came out the same day as Soul, right? Because I remember there had been like a kind of like a bottleneck scenario of like, there's nothing, we're delaying all these movies, delay. And I was like, for Christmas time, here's 2 movies. And it was like Wonder Woman 84 and Soul was like, it's pretty good. And then Wonder Woman 84 was a whole thing unto itself, you know?
You know what? All right, I loved Soul. I thought it was great. I liked Wonder Woman. I know, I understand people's problems with it, though. Like, I do. And we're not just talking about the weird morals of her with her dare I say ex, because he's dead, in another man's body. You know, we're not talking about that. I understand people's problems with the rest of it, but I enjoyed a lot of it. I did. I liked. It was a very different plot. It was a very unique villain. I was it. Well, it didn't live up to the first one, but it was certainly unique and different.
Well, I'm sure it will have its fans within a couple of years, and then there will be, you know, Gal Gadot can't seem to get Wonder Woman 3 up on any kind of blocks at the minute, but like,
which is a shame, really, because everybody loved 1. So you would think logic would say, okay, everybody liked 1, even non-DC fans. 2 didn't do so well, so you go for a third punt, right? It's the scientific method.
Yeah, but they're just like, nope, they're yanking it, just shut it down, it's gone.
Nah.
But then Gal Gadot comes out going like, oh, James Gunn said he'd make a third one with me, and then James Gunn was just like, I don't say that. I didn't say anything, what are you talking about?
Maybe he's like, you're not supposed to bloody tell them that, Gal.
And I'll go for, so I'll try to wrap up this little segment. It's a big long list, because that happens a lot. But some other notable ones, Little Women, Greta Gerwig's Little Women, which I do remember being a Christmas release because it's a very Christmassy kind of story.
Okay, I think I didn't watch it till you could get it on Amazon Video, you know, but I enjoyed it. It's good.
Oh, no, it's good. It's good. It's that's the only one of this list that feels like appropriate. It's like, oh no, you released Little Women at Christmas time because it's kind of like a Christmas movie.
Well, the thing is, you can't release a Christmas movie on Christmas Day because after Christmas Day, people will be like, well, it's not Christmas anymore.
You just do the Batman Returns. You're like, shove it on like June 4th. It's like people are in the Christmas mood then, right?
Well, people have time then to get into the mood. We're going to keep it in the cinemas all the way up until Christmas.
Another pandemic casualty. But a movie we've mentioned several times this season, because it's sort of a similar theme or similar plot line of a young woman who's, you know, someone close to them has died through tragic circumstances, and her going on a rampage of revenge and throwing away the promise of her own life and dedication to all this hatred. Promising Young Woman with Carey Mulligan was a Christmas Day release, which seems very strange, to be fair.
Yeah.
But I do know that director of that, Emerald Fennell, who was supposed to be working on the Zatanna movie, but it's not happening anymore.
That's not going to happen ever. No.
Well, but she's a new thing coming out with Barry Keoghan. The one of the current Jokers, Barry Keoghan. One of the
12,000 current Jokers, yeah.
Yeah, this thing Saltburn, which I saw the trailer the other day. I was like, "Oh, lady made promising young woman. I'll watch it." Like,
well, and he's always good, isn't he? He always plays some weird little freak.
Oh, he's great. He is. Like, I'm sure he'll get typecast. It'll get old at some point, but so far he's got such a genuinely odd energy about him.
Yeah.
That like the killing of a sacred deer, he's so unsettling in that. Like, he's just genuinely like. There's a scene of him eating spaghetti, which is just like one of the most repulsive. But weirdly, like, beguiling things I've ever seen.
I get the vibe he's maybe just like that. Like, he's just a little weirdo. Well, I actually had a double bill of him inadvertently, not knowing he was in either movie. Because I watched Banshees of Inisherin, and he was great in that. And then a few weeks later, I watched The Green Knight, and I didn't know he was in that.
No, yeah, great, but again, kind of playing a similar kind of. Not to say it's wildly different characters in terms of what they do, but behaving the same way, basically.
And I love it. He just leans into it, like, yeah, I'm a little creepy weirdo. I'm just going to do that then. Yeah.
But the final few of these here, what you call it? Catch Me If You Can was a big one, popping up on all these lists.
The Tom Hanks one.
Yeah, Tom Hanks, the Spielberg classic. Catch Me If You Can.
I remember loving it when it came out, but it's yet another one. Who has ever watched it since then?
Oh, I've watched Catch Me If You Can a couple of times over the years. It's great film. I would highly recommend revisiting it. It's a very, very good film.
I think I still have the DVD from when it was released. I could dig it out. There's probably no bloody point, but I could dig it out.
Another really odd one was Persepolis. the adaptation of Marjan Satrapi's harrowing tale of growing up in Iran.
Listeners, I'm laughing not because it's bad. It's absolutely phenomenal. I'm laughing because why the hell would you release it then?
It's like, the Iranians got to go to something as well. I guess they want to hear remember how horrible their country was 20 years ago. But
maybe. It's an absolutely fantastic movie and book. I don't want to sound like one of those people, but I read the book first.
Yeah.
Because I think, did you buy me it?
Yeah, I think I got you the comic for your birthday one or something.
And I read that before I saw the movie. I didn't think the movie was as good. I think it missed some things out, and it changed a few things, which that always happens. So I am being one of those jerks, but
Yeah, no, I remember them both been pretty strong, and then the weirdness of the film being that like the uncle was voiced by Iggy Pop. It's like, of all the people, like, well, why Iggy Pop? It's like everyone else is like, oh, Sean Penn, and like, Gina Rollins is like, oh, I get this, and then Iggy Pop is like the Iranian uncle is played. Okay,
fine. I suppose maybe because the character gets into like punk and things, so maybe that was the idea. Was like, he's like the godfather of punk, like. What he did wasn't punk, but it helped lead to punk. So maybe that was the idea. It's like, that's the character as well. Like maybe.
I just know, the Marjane Satrapi, then because it's autobiographical comic she made, and then she adapted it to film herself. And like what she done since is like, she made like a weird serial killer rom-com with Ryan Reynolds where he keeps like Gemma Arterton's talking head in a fridge.
Which sounds great, but it's not the same kind of thing,
It's very like, I guess she's just like, I'm going for something completely different this time.
Yeah, which I respect. Why not? But it's a shame that nothing seems to have had the same cultural sort of resonance.
Yeah. But then, and then the last one is one I do remember there being, again, for pandemic reasons and also just bizarre release strategy reasonings, Licorice Pizza. Paul Thomas Anderson's with one of the Heims. One of the girls from Heims.
Who knows which one?
Alana, I think, and Minnie Philip Seymour Hoffman. But a thing where, like, the questionable, age gap relationship has Bradley Cooper as John Peters in it. Great movie, but I remember it being like, that was out in America for ages before it came out over here. And
I think that's why most people I know didn't watch it here. Yeah,
I think that was really frustrating too, because we're just after that period of like, it was coming out of the pandemic, and it was like, back during that point, Wonder Woman 84 being released on Christmas Day is like, you can watch it in your house on Christmas Day.
Yeah,
and then there's so many things were coming out. Where it's like, if it's out in America, it's out here because they just release it straight to digital now. And then I think Licorice Pizza was one of the first ones where it's like, we're getting back to the old ways, and. I was like, so it's out in America. It'll be out, like, you'll be able to download it here in like 2 weeks or something, right? And then I was like, nope. It just would not show up on any torrent sites. No. And you're just like, how long am I going to have to wait for this thing? And it was like 6 months or something. It was insane.
By that point, nobody cares, right?
Yeah, but at that point, I was just like, finally, Jesus Christ. I just kind of sat through it with everybody like, let's get this thing over with.
Out of obligation, like, fine, I'll watch it.
But no, another thing that I wanted to bring up, this episode's going longer than I anticipated. But
I thought this was going to be 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I haven't even done any of my notes.
Oh, wow. No, I just wanted to bring up this thing because I thought it would then set up, because we should probably announce while we're on the air here, because people set up for the future. Think about the future.
I've seen the future.
And it works. Actually, and thinking about the future is even more appropriate than you realize, listeners. But no, I wanted to bring up that, of course, we mentioned in our last episode that the Phantasm was brought back for Tom King's run. But the Phantasm also featured as a villain in a storyline for the Batman Beyond comic line. Which, of course, people don't aware. Batman Beyond set like 40-odd years in the future. And, new Batman, Bruce is an old guy. He's the old guy in the chair, et cetera, et cetera. And Andrea Beaumont still out and about. So this is briefly summarize what the plot line is. The Phantasm returns in Mark of the Phantasm. At the secret behest of Amanda Waller, Andrea seeks out the great-grandnephew of Jake Chill, a.k.a. the Vigilante, which I believe ties into Peacemaker, weirdly enough. But for the murder of Terry McGinnis's father, Terry McGinnis being the new Batman at that point.
Oh, yeah.
Beaumont is charged with killing Jake before Terry learns of Jake's guilt in an effort to remove any temptation for Terry to attempt the same. I'm not too sure. I'm reading a summary here because I found the comics eventually on the DC Infinite app, but they were marked down wrong. They were all like, they're saying, oh, you have to go to Batman Beyond 2.0, and then the wiki pages are saying, like, it's in Batman Beyond Universe, issue 16.
For God's sake.
So it took me ages to track these down. But then after an initial attempt at Jake's life fails due to Terry's intercession, Andrea visits Bruce in the Batcave. Bruce reveals that he searched for Andrea, and attempts to convince her that it is not too late for them. Andrea acknowledges that despite their similarities, they are at loggerheads. I do things Batman can't. I always have. Beaumont abandons her second attempt on Jake's life when he accidentally dies from exposure to Joker venom. And it's something to do with the Joker himself's not there. It's the Jokers, the gang.
Please tell me it's with a Z.
Oh, it is. Oh, it's with a Z, baby. And it's like the issues I did read of it, like, yeah, their whole thing is that they're trying to hone to create the perfect Joker venom and stuff. So that's where all that comes from. But it's like, yeah, much like those Batman Beyond comics, are just sort of like people hand wave them away. That thing, people talk so much about, like, Andrea was in this, and they did a version of her in the DC Bombshells line where she was mixed with the Reaper and she was going after Hugo Strange, etc. And then be like, oh, she had a whole story arc in Batman Beyond. Like, no one cares about that. They just kind of push it away to the side. But speaking of Batman Beyond, should we just say what our plans are for mid-hiatus after this season? Because
I think we should, right?
Yeah, might as well, just to give people a tease of what's... Because obviously we'll be going on hiatus after this episode. But because it feels... Because the season's been so short, it kind of feels like we've not spent much time with Kevin Conroy or Mark Hamill.
Or with you, listeners.
Or with you. And... like, people keep bringing up, like, well, what are you doing with Return of the Joker? What are you going to do with that? It's a big movie. People love that movie. And I was like, I don't know if it warrant minute by minute, because, again, this is a lot of the same actors, and the Joker is the villain again. But still, and my original thinking was, like, we'll do, like, a one-off episode on it. And then the more I started thinking about it, I was like, no, there's a lot there. Maybe do, like, 3-parter.
Yeah.
And then the more it went on in my mind, I was like, no, I think we get a lot more out of that. So... I'm thinking now what we'll do after this episode is take a short hiatus for like maybe 2 or 3 months, and then we'll come back with Bat Minute Beyond chunks of the Joker, where we'll break it down in, let's say, 10-minute chunks, and we'll get I think it's like maybe 70 or 80 minutes long, so that you'll get like at least 6 or 7 episodes out of that, and then
6 makes the most sense. Like 7 seems weird, right?
Well, this is it's it might make perfect sense to some people though. Yeah. Fans of David Fincher might love 7. You never know, but and then break that, and then we'll get to go deep into the Batman Beyond verse, because there's so much. That was a whole show. That was a whole side of the DC canon that we would never get to touch on otherwise. We'd never get to address Terry McGinnis. Or any of that whole universe. And there's a lot. They got the Tim Drake Robin there. They got everything's going on in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, and people really love it. So I'm thinking we'll come back and do a mini season on Return of the Joker. Now go on for 6 or 7 or 8 weeks, and we'll probably air like once a week. Shake things up a bit
for 52 weeks a year.
Yeah. And then after that, we'll go on hiatus again. And then after that hiatus, then we'll come back with Batman 66 or Bat Minute 66. Finally,
so like a little
tackle.
Yeah, mini mini season, like a little teaser thing, and then a proper season.
Yeah. And then
with
we'll
a
just,
very different sort of vibe. And even though really the end of the sort of first era of the show was the 4 movies.
Yes. Yeah.
And we've only done one more since. This feels like the end of an era as well, because now we're going in a completely different direction.
Well, I think that was kind of my thing. It was just like, oh, we started talking about Mark Hamill, and we started talking about Kevin Conroy, and then it's like, oh, it feels like it feels all so brief. It's just like, it wasn't. I feel like we haven't sat with them like we would with the, as much as we did with like Arnie or Michael Keaton, for God's sake. So we had to come back and do another swing at them, and then there's so many other the cast of Return of the Joker is crazy as well. Like you get some real big hitters in there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and then it's a change of pace for us again because it's a whole new Gotham, it's a whole new Batman. Right?
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Definitely, very, very different to anything we've done.
Yeah. So obviously can't give it an official date to when that will launch, but like, it's just after this ends, wait a couple of months, and then there'll be Return of the Batman and Beyond chunks of the Joker, and then
and you'll still get hiatus stuff as well.
Oh, there'll be hiatus stuff. Cause one of the big things I'm also excited about, if I may plug, and it's our show, why wouldn't we? Also coming up on the Patreon will be, I think it's going to be a good season, where starting in November, they will be releasing part 2 of this 89 continuation comic.
Yeah.
Where they're bringing in the Scarecrow and Harley Quinn. And so what we did the last time they did that, when they brought in the Billy D. Williams Two-Face and stuff, we cover that month to month. But the thing I'm wanting to do now, which I've been touting for a while, but now I think we're going to finally do it, is that to go along with that, to review
Jag
the
Race, yeah.
Batman is Jag Race. Finally, it's upon us. But no, that concept of at the beginning of the Batman 89 VHS, there was a series of trailers for other films that I now strongly associate with Batman 89. And now that there's an 89 thing coming out in general, we'll have an episode on the Patreon about that, a month about that comic coming out. And then also on the Patreon, we'll review each of those films that came out. And it's things such as, and this thing is, this stuck in my heart as soon as I saw it, because I was like, people know from what we talked about on the show quite recently, I'm not a big James Bond fan.
Yeah.
And the first movie is like, what was the first one? License to Kill. I was like, oh Christ. So we've got to go. The first episode will be us talking about the Timothy Dalton classic License to Kill.
Yeah.
And then we get into things like I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, and Young Einstein, and Dead Calm, and all sorts in there. Talk about
crazy.
The Commodore Amiga game, all that business. That's the plan for the Patreon, starting November. For two of your US dollars a month, you will unlock your access to that. And we will be doing that between now and the next time you hear us on the main feed.
Well, and for the $2 as well, you get all the old stuff. So you've already got loads of things to listen to right there.
Oh, totally. There's tons of stuff on there now, yeah.
Tons of stuff. And you know what? If you want even more of us while we're gone, check out our other show, Miami Minutes, about the movie Miami Connection, which a lot of people listening to this probably have heard of, but if you haven't, it's a formerly lost 80s martial arts movie that's regarded as so bad it's good, but we actually like it.
Yeah. It's so good, it's good.
Yeah, like we make fun, obviously, on the show, but we're not there to be nasty. We're not there just to make fun of it left and right. It's like, no. We are having a good time, and it's a much more unhinged show.
Because there's not as much like in Batman we try to be informative about what you're seeing, but there's no one on Miami Connection went on to work on anything else.
No, there's no lore.
Yeah, so we're making up the lore as we go. So, it's a lot more of us just riffing. It's literally, and it's a lot of fun. And that's ongoing. That's been there's 50 episodes in. But there's still the movie's 87 minutes, so we've still got 30 weeks to go or something.
Yeah, so it's only once a week as well, so it's not much of your time,
Yeah.
And that's free. That's not on the Patreon. You can just go listen to that.
But then I feel like that's all I accidentally segued us into doing a load of plugs. And you said you've not even done your notes for
No,
for
I mean,
this
my
one.
notes are boring, though. This is the thing, because there wasn't much to talk about. So I was like, okay, well, this mentions, like, a job of a colour timer. What do they do? So I just, like, researched what a colour timer does. That's not very exciting. Because it's basically what it sounds like. They have to make sure all the colours are the same, because colour, film stock can be different, or lighting. Very boring.
Yeah.
Screw it. We'll see you in the world of tomorrow.
Not that world of tomorrow. The actual world of tomorrow this time.
That's the perfect way to go out.
Next time. Thought you could get rid of me so easily? Yes, 76 minutes isn't enough time with Conroy and Hamill for us to witness. But what this cocktail could still use is a spot of McGinnis. And while the Phantasm might be put to bed with her thirst for homicidal satisfaction seemingly sated, it could be in the future that the Joker will be reanimated.
Must have dope, stiff it, tabby,